What does that mean? Sorry? Original. That's it. If you say factory setting, you know that there's a way your phone comes from the factory, and then you cannot customize it. In the same way, there's a way we come originally from God. This world can customize us. Experiences can customize you. Right? Your failure can customize you. Your success can customize you. Your pain might customize you. Your pleasures might customize you. But we're saying now that we don't want to be customized, because that's what it basically says in the book of Romans 12. That don't be conformed, right, to this world, right? But be transformed by the renewing of your mind. So many times, we no longer look like the way we were when God, created us. So we're saying that deliberately check your life settings. All right. So these are the realities that, that this world has changed and is changing. But if you say that anywhere, everybody will believe. Right? Everybody will believe. I met a guy on this flight, and he's a guy I've always known. Years ago, he was a flatmate of one of my friends, and happens to also be my younger brother's boss. So I said, we're looking at ourselves. It's like, I was thinking what I was thinking. I know this guy somewhere. I know this guy somewhere. After a while, I just said, I was the one to bail the cat. I should know you. Right? He said, yeah, I think we should. I said, okay, what's your name? You know to me? Okay. I said, yeah, you look more younger. I said, come on, don't deceive me. You know that we've changed. We've changed. I was back, in my constituency this last Sunday. And everybody kind of, young people that I knew, 20 years ago, they've become fathers. Evangelists off. You really need to be careful about that. That's why I'm saying that this change and these changing realities, you are affected one way or the other. It's not optional. You have changed physically, mentally, emotionally in the last 10 years. But the question you want to ask is, what has changed? For some, because you've been eating normally, right? You're growing, right? Just, health and all those kind of things. You're growing in size. Mentally also, there are literature that you've consumed. Emotionally, there are experiences you've had. Right? There are pains, there are setbacks. So what is responsible? But to put all that together, the world we live in, what rules is what? Uncertainties. Uncertainties. And in the time of uncertainty, awareness is critical. When you are certain you are in control, imagine yourself, you're taking a walk in the forest, right? You're taking a walk in the forest. Maybe it's a forest that you are very familiar with or whatever. And then suddenly you miss your way. The whole forest is like, what do they call this thing where there are a lot of roads? Is it a labyrinth? Right? Sorry? Maze. Where there are a lot of roads, openings that leads to each other. Maze? Spell it. I need to check. Check your dictionary. What's the maze? I want to be sure we're saying the same thing. Is that a dictionary? That's a Google. Maze. Google will give you a lot of options. M-A-Z-E, right? I said dictionary, now you are checking Google. Google will give you news about maze. And maze can mean a lot of things. I say check dictionary. Is that a dictionary? Google. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Now, when you find yourself in that kind of a situation, everything around you now becomes like it's like a threat. You just hear a sound and you are startled, right? Because you are no longer in control. Right? The unknown is now much more, right, than the known. Am I making sense? You see, that's the kind of world that we live in. Life has become, I said, it's time for your life not to be disjointed. Right? You must be able to connect the dots. You need to know that in the world that is characterized by uncertainty and changing realities, your life is founded upon something that's eternal. Right? Is God changing? God is not changing. God is only adaptive. What's the difference between the two? I want to ensure you guys understand what I'm talking about. If I say God is changing, is only adaptive, what does that mean? Sorry? Flexible. Flexible. Right? Okay? Is fitting into what? what I'm talking about. It's something to sit down and say, oh, yeah. Let's walk through that. Because that's the way you should use Twitter. Whatever you do that is not a reflection of your belief and interaction and relationship with God, he said it's a sin. Make sense? And every other thing flows from there. So please, 2018, where are you? I was just coming from my home church and the whole thing is about finishing strong. And I gave them a shock therapy that we've known over the years in this church, that this finishing is not December into January. Except, maybe you have discovered God's will for your life, that your life ends in 2019. Then that's when you are finishing, right? I mean, it ends in 2018, yeah. Then you want to finish strong. But what we're talking about is daily strength, because the world we live in is wired in such a way that the weak will be defeated. The one who is weak in thought, weak in resolve, weak in terms of discipline, weak in terms of work ethic, those who live lives of pleasure, those who are addicted to convenience will be defeated. They wish and wish and wish and wish, and one day they discover that they are 65. And nothing really has happened. Time passed them by. Intensity today, I'm not trying to play on words, but for you to be so intense, you simply just be intentional. What does it mean to be intentional? That I'm not just playing on words. Yeah? Deliberate. What does it mean to be deliberate? So that we're not playing on words. I want description, explanation of what that means. Try and give like a pictorial kind of deliberate. A reason for everything you do. Because if you don't have a reason, you will do it anyhow. Because what is success? Success is you arrive at where you set out to go. Because like I told them, if you say we want to finish strong, we don't know what that is. Right? We might have finished and we're still looking for the finish line. It's like Usain Bolt running a 100-meter dash and he's still not don't run it. They will be using the medal to chase him. You need to know the finish line. Exactly. Some people run and they forget the ball behind. So the story of life began with God. And one thing that I told them there then was that this, if you say you want to finish, there is an assumption that there is a journey. Right? So you have to know the nature of this journey. You have to know where you are at on that journey and know how the journey finishes. That's when you are intentional. Now, the nature of this journey is that we are not journeying alone. Right? It's a couple. Journey. Because we are all trying to find our place in God. God is the story, right? You are just a paragraph or a word or whatever, right? I told you, Jesus is the Word of God. You are a Word of God. She is a Word of God. The world can't see Christ until we all show up. Are you with me? So we need to have intention, like Steph said. And whatever is our, what we set out to do, we must check the validity of that, the authenticity of that. A friend of mine was mourning over social media today that just at the same time there was a landing by American NASA project right on Mars, right? Around the same time, a group of idiots were dedicating 100,000. Okay, maybe you don't agree. Okay? That's what we still don't understand. What kind of faith is fit for these times? And I don't want to make any assumptions. What's paradigm? Right? What's a paradigm? What does it mean? I don't want to make assumptions that we know. What's a paradigm? Sorry? Thought pattern. The way of thinking. The model. Pattern. Okay. I don't like one-word answers. We are looking at what kind of faith is fit for these times. And I don't want to make any assumptions. What's paradigm? Right? What's a paradigm? What does it mean? I don't want to make assumptions that we know. What's a paradigm? Sorry? Thought pattern. The way of thinking. The model. Pattern. Okay. I don't like one-word answers. Pattern of what? Pattern of a dress? Perception. Right? A mode of seeing, right? The way you see things. You know, I've always given you the example of two salesmen selling shoes, right? And they went to a city, they don't wear shoes there. And the first one sent message back home, don't produce any more shoes. There's no market here. The other one sent message back home, produce more. There's so much market here. The first one saw that this guy don't wear shoes, there can't be any upgrade. But said, these are the people that they need shoes because they don't have shoes. If I do many designs, found a market. It's a way of seeing, it's a paradigm. And it's powerful. So now, what inspires your paradigm of yourself? Because it's what gives it acceptability is your paradigm. Whatever you want to reject is how you see it. The conclusions we draw. Paul told the church in Corinth, you guys should check how you see me. Right? He said, let no man judge me, right? If you want to look at me as the one who persecuted the church, you missed it big time. He said all that before he arrived, that if any man be in Christ, right? He's talking about the whole issue of paradigm and perception. The conclusions we draw about people. Because when he came to church, everybody ran away. It took Barnabas, who had the right paradigm of new birth, to say he's now our brother. How do you see yourself? How do you see people? How do you see places? God, that's what's going to, what kind of conclusions do you draw? Because sometimes we just judge by mere Kagani. You just see the person and you draw conclusion. Right? We don't make righteous judgment. Life conclusions about self, about people, about places. That's what we determine. There's nobody you meet, you don't have an idea, even if you just meet for 2 minutes. Human beings are wired to form opinions. You just see the person. Right? From the look. Even God is like that. He said, these are the things I hate. A proud look. But God can call it what? A proud look. Evident, empirical. This is what pride looks like. But yours might be a proud look just based on experience. The last time I saw a proud man, right? This is the way the man looked. So it's not based on any kind of spiritual investigation. It's not based on discernment. How do you draw conclusions about your own life, about people, about places? Because that's what's going to determine how you perceive. And you know it, common phrase, perception is your reality. And your reality is always subjective. So the power of paradigms now, the way we see the world, is measured by ability of that way of seeing to match, right, and interpret current realities, current external conditions. That is what you have inside is able to, to investigate, interpret accurately what's happening around you. Can you interpret Nigeria? Can you interpret your neighborhood? That's too far. Can you even interpret your life? Have you come to terms? Have you been able to discover why you are the way you are today? Because paradigms can become a problem. It can become a hindrance when current realities shift. And then it becomes short. Right? Because if you relate with me by how you met me 20 years ago, you will be wrong. Because I've changed. Right? I was more arrogant than this 20 years ago. Yeah. I wasn't as wise as this. Right? How many of you can confess that you are arrogant? "20 years ago, I won't confess because it was normal." It's now looking back, I say, "Oh, that was arrogance." Right? So, it's called paradigm blindness. If I want to put it in biblical terms, You have some people, God forbid, who were rich, and now times are hard. They always reminisce, right? It's not your fault. If it were 5 years ago when I had, and they keep going. They live in the past. I remember when, they described the car they drove. Even if the car is no longer in, it's no longer in production. It's spiritual trap. So to break that stronghold, to unleash the trap, we said we need this paradigm shifting imperatives. Become a lifelong learner. That's what I'm going to focus on this evening. Number 2, we said leadership needs to be redefined. The day of the lonely leader where everybody bows is gone. What do we really want? It's a king, right? Do you still have a crown here? Huh? But it's a corporate crown, right? Am I making sense? Leadership needs to be redefined. Politically in Nigeria, we have ceded leadership to some people. We don't care what they do. We concede it to them that they are ordained by God to hurt us. So they are just carrying out God's will for their lives. Right. My own perception, if you ever say anything complimentary about any public official in Nigeria, you are deluded. Anything complimentary. Let me say one that might be more, that might be more acceptable, which we do and we sound to ourselves as if we're intelligent. We draw comparisons. They're all the same. If you are seeing now, you discover that we're all victims. Because we can't even generate enough anger. Yeah. For change. If there's no anger, there can't be change. We can't even protest. We've already accepted that in 2019, and you're right. It's either Buhari or Atiku, right? The others are just noisemakers. No strategy, okay? Then generational mentality. The solution to the problem we have is to go forward. How do you go forward? Be focused on the coming generation. That's the only way we can correct this. Because in Nigeria, historically, there's always a 20-year cycle. The election of 2019 was determined 20 years ago. Aren't you angry when the ones you read about in your history are also the ones you read about in your newspaper? The historical figures of Nigeria, right? You also read about them in daily news, right? The likes of OBJ. They are the same yesterday, today, and forever. Right? Because they are more generational. That is, they want to make themselves relevant for all ages. I've shared more about it, but we're still going to come back to it. And one other thing we need to overhaul, your paradigm is money. Don't think money. Don't think prosperity. Think wealth. And the moment you begin to talk about wealth, you are talking about a community. This is prosperity. It's old economy. This is new economy. Is it clear enough? Right? If that tree blossoms, everybody is wealthy. Right? That guy is only drawing from it. There's a tap on the other side. There's a stoppage. Did you see that? Then it's just, and the tree is drying up. This gives me a picture of what, oil price will be like. If you can't see yourself in all the politicking between America and Saudi Arabia, then you're blind. America will never sanction Saudi because if America sanctions Saudi, we will prosper. Price of oil will go up. Right? But you just read it and consume it. You can't. You don't see how that affects you. They want to keep the price of oil permanently, right? Low and lower and lower and lower. And that's what we spend here. But there's a way we can look at it too. You can actually see that as a challenge. Let's look at other areas where we neglected. Am I making sense? And then, strategy is key. But whatever strategy we want to deploy, the primary product of our strategy must be people. And that's the gospel, right? We don't just fellowship with God. We also fellowship with what? With one another. All right. So the finishing line is that place of corporate victory, Psalm 84, where everybody, right? And then honestly, sometimes you talk and you hear yourself. If you submit to the kind of process, you wonder where you get your ideas from. God still inspires one. Right? This last Sunday, I thank God I'm not really a fan of Nigerian movies. A guy walked into church and didn't do that. The guy is contesting an election. I started my message. I called him. I said, come, I learned you are contesting an election. They wanted to give microphone. I said, no, if I give microphone, you campaign. I met plenty of people here. He's not seeing God's flock. He's seeing votes. And I gave him the same message I gave to Gabriel here. Right? That if I give you all the money, if I'm able to create the environment for you to do what you want to do by seeking that office, will you still do it if there is no office? So this is the new orientation for your generation to seek elective posts. With or without the elective post. I am just seeking that post, right, to be able to leverage, to be able to do what I want to do. If I can do it in any other way, I don't need the post. I don't need the office. Right? And you know the way it is in Lagos. I asked him, can I pray for you? Bam! The guy went on his knees. Thank God I was civil enough. I prayed. I didn't abuse him. And by the time we finished the service, my dad came to me. You don't know that guy? I said, who? If I mention his name now, all of you are his followers. Do you know who I'm talking about? Yeah. You know the person? Right? You know the person? Okay. He's a popular guy. Yeah, you saw the movie now. Hey, That's true. Because if I had known, it would color the way I relate. Right? I might color it. I might come with a bit of, I might approach him as a celeb. Right? And talk in a more, all right. So you see, conviction. If it's easy, you do it without any kind of conviction. And then you might run into troubled waters and then you back off. Right? But God will want that instruction to try you, just like David wrote about Joseph. Right? The word that God gave him tried him. We are going to be boss over nations. And then he went to jail. Right? It will always, so learning, being a learner, pardon me for the typo there. Today is not a dignified process. Personality today If something can't be understood, it's not mystery. Mystery is what? Unlocked secret. And only the learning can unlock it. It has been given unto you to know the mystery, right, of the kingdom of your Father. Learning is what cracks the code. What are you learning? In instruction, social instruction, emotional instruction, medical instruction. You remember a time we had a whole seminar, a medical, talk here about how people use antibiotics, right? Because we don't know how to follow, instructions. We presume. So rather than that thing healing you, it actually compromises your health. If there's something people don't do nowadays, they don't read instructions. We presume. And the primary basic. If you know you want to come here and sleep, why are you punishing yourself? Lie on your bed, right? And you will be blessed. Then Jesus told them, this kingdom is about learning. He brought a little child, right? Unless you are converted and become as little children, you will by no means enter the kingdom of heaven. Whoever humbles himself as a little child, how do you know? Whatever they want to know it now. One of the pastors in and I want to begin to express it now. But many of us were like Barzillai, right, in the Bible. What else will I still learn about life? Right? Look at the way the message put it. Who gets the highest rank in God's kingdom? For an answer, Jesus called over a child whom he stood in the middle of the room and said, I'm telling you once and for all, unless you return to square one, right, and start over like children, you won't even get a look. He said, become simple and elemental. Again, go back to elementary school like this child, then you will rank high. He didn't say stay in elementary school, right? That's just the beginning. So God uses learning. He uses the learning, not experts. Learning is the weapon of life in the age of the unthinkable. Jesus taught learning. In John 9, the Siloam principle. The word Siloam there means sent. The one that God is going to send must have a learning attitude. I know we'll be saying, don't be learned. Be learning. These guys were learned. Right? He said, because of judgment I have come into this world, that those who do not see may see. And that those who see may be made blind. The one who don't see are the learning. The one who see are the learned. And say, I'm going to make them blind. Then the Pharisees came and said, what are you trying to say? Are you telling us we are blind? Jesus space.